And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Stacks on Stacks. Joined with my guy, Swerving Irving Washington, and we got a very special guest. We're being joined all the way from Virginia, so thank you for hanging out with us, Aaron. I know it's getting late over there. Aaron Kidd, you can follow him on Twitter at what's your Twitter handle? At Aaron Kidd
10.
That's it. I had it written down and I moved my notes over here, so my apologies. At Aaron Kidd 10, follow him on Twitter. My guy knows his college hoops. 8-2 last week on his picks that he gives out on Twitter. So he had a great conference tournament run. Definitely give him a follow. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. And that's why I asked him to come on the show, because this show is all about March Madness. Before we get started, I do have to say we're being brought to you by Tavour. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device. Use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. You don't even have to leave your couch or your house. Just get it delivered. That being said, Aaron, how you doing tonight?
Jordan, thanks for having me on, buddy.
Absolutely, man. How is it going over there in Virginia? How's the weather?
You know, actually, we got a little snow yesterday, and something that usually doesn't happen around here. So it's kind of a good day, just relax, watch Selection Sunday, and whack VCU for a little bit. So I was glad to see them kind of come back in the second half, and I thought they would wear down Dayton. So glad to be here.
Yeah, we were on opposite sides of that one. You were definitely on the right side. Dayton went on that 10-minute and 14-second stretch where they only scored 6 points. That was a little brutal, man, but they just couldn't score, you know what I mean? So that was that. That was all that. Irv, how you doing tonight, brother?
Doing all right. Can't complain. It was a windy day in Cali. No rain. We're supposed to get some rain later on this week, though.
Damn. It's very rare when we get rain out in Southern California. Vegas was beautiful today. It was like 75 degrees and sunny. It's like heaven on earth, baby. But in 2 months, it's going to be 115, and then it's not going to be heaven on earth. So I'll take it while I can get it.
Enjoy that.
So let's hop right into it, Aaron. You know, I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to ask you, you know, we kind of talked a little bit last night when the bracket first got revealed, and I told you, man, I really wanted to fade Arizona, but I felt like before I even dove into anything, I was like, man, they kind of got a nice path to get to the Elite Eight. Is there a team that you kind of looked at when the bracket got revealed that you kind of thought like, man, this team could really make a run with how they were seated and you know, kind of looking at the bracket? Was there any teams like that for you?
You know, when first looking at the bracket, I thought Texas got a really hard draw with Colgate. You know, Colgate can really probably do what Baylor kind of did to Texas and kind of just shoot the ball over them. You know, Colgate has a very good player called Tucker Richardson, who unfortunately kind of bit me in their conference championship there against Lafayette. He kind of went off, but Colgate has a top 20, 21, adjusted efficiency offense that they can really run some offense and kind of control the tempo of that game. So I think they may give Texas some problems there, you know, in the Midwest region.
Yep. Is there any team that you kind of looked at and looked at the bracket and said like, man, they could make a run, or do you think Colgate can make a run in this tournament?
No, I think Colgate can give Texas problems. You know, believe it or not, as as crazy as it may sound to some people, I think we were talking about Arizona, last night. I think they've kind of got it a little bit of a rough path there. I think Utah State might get through Missouri, and I think Utah State might beat Arizona in that second round there. If you're a UVA fan, you know Ryan Odom. So,
Yep.
he's going to have his teams ready to play. And not a lot of people, especially on the East Coast, may have watched Mountain West basketball, but Utah State's a very efficient team. So I think they're going to come ready to play, and they might make a surprise run to the Sweet 16 or even the Elite Eight.
Yeah, the reason why I looked at Arizona was like, man, they have a good path because the teams that they're going to possibly face up until the Elite Eight all play the same style they do up and down. And Arizona, aside from Gonzaga, is probably the best team at that. Obviously, Tommy Lloyd came from Mark Few's tree. And then also, Utah State doesn't really have a lot of big bodies to defend Ballo and Tabelis. They had issues guarding in the Hawaii tournament when they were there, Utah State. They struggled a little bit guarding bigs, and that to me might pose an issue. Like, yes, they could shoot the leather off the rock. So if they're hot, the possibility is always there, right? But I think they're gonna have difficulty guarding Arizona. And Arizona is a team that I'm not high on. Like, I think this team is very flawed. They're not deep at all. Kirk Harisa is one of the most overrated players in college basketball, in my opinion. And they don't play great defense. And to be completely honest, they would have lost to UCLA if UCLA had more than two guys on that roster in the Pac-12 championship over 6'7". You know what I mean? Like, that was a very difficult thing for them. I mean, they couldn't guard at that point. Like, they had both their bigs in foul trouble. They fouled out with like 6 minutes to go in the game when they had the lead. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting.
Yeah, I wrote
That's an interesting.
Yeah, I wrote about Arizona last night. They have probably one of the best offenses in the country that no one knows about because they played on the Pac-12 at least. But they struggle at times to find consistency on the defensive side.
Yep.
They're certainly a very good team that can get out and score quickly on you.
Yep, they can. I mean, they're number 2 in pace, right behind Gonzaga. Number 2 in offensive efficiency, right behind Gonzaga. So I mean, aside from Gonzaga, they're definitely the best offense in college basketball. And Gonzaga is a great team to bring up too, because I mean, Gonzaga this year, nobody had expectations to even do anything, right? And now here they are. They're a 3 seed and arguably the toughest region. And I mean, what's your thoughts on Gonzaga? Can they make a run here?
I think not a lot of people may have had expectations for Gonzaga, except for Gonzaga.
Yep.
I still think they believe they're a team that can get out and play with the best of them, and I think they might be right. They did draw an interesting matchup against Grand Canyon in that first round there. Grand Canyon is a team that came in hot, won 6 straight. And losing Blackshear early in the year, man, what could that team have been if they hadn't have done that? But I think Gonzaga cruises past them in a game that feels like Grand Canyon might be able to stick around for a little bit with them. But number 1 adjusted offense in the nation there. They play a high tempo, 41th in the nation and 41st in the nation in tempo, and almost 0.8 kill shots per game, which is unreal. So
yep, they are they're a juggernaut, man. In a down year, they're still one of the best teams in the country. It's crazy. It
kind of reminds me of UVA. We all know I'm a Virginia fan, but this is unbiased opinion. When Virginia has a down year, that's a really good year for a lot of schools. So I think Gonzaga is even a tier above that. So.
Yep, except UVA has the title, the hardware. That's something that is
like I said, Ryan Odom will have his boys ready to play.
That is eluded Mark Few, but I hope sometime pulls out. Hopefully, maybe this year. Who knows? So what teams are you high on coming into the tournament? Give me 3 teams you're high on.
Me and you have spoke before, but I like UConn. I think they kind of hit a little stopgap there for a while, but kind of come on strong late. I have a really nice ticket on them to win it all for mid-February with one of my buddies at a plus 3,000. So some good closing line value, if you will, there. A lot of people have kind of hopped off of them because of what happened in the ACC tournament, but I still think Miami's guards can give some people problems. Buddy texted me earlier, and he says, don't forget, guards win a lot of games in basketball in the month of March. So, And then Baylor, Baylor kind of got bamboozled there against Iowa State. People kind of fell off of them. They struggled to adjust a little bit, but man, those guards can shoot the lights out and can play with the best of them. So, I think those are a couple teams flying underneath the radar.
Yep, I agree. UConn was one of my top 3 teams that I'm high on coming in the tournament. I like them. I did not like their last 2 minutes in that game against Marquette the other night, though. That was some terrible offensive execution. Doesn't get worse than that. Another team I'm like high on coming in this tournament is Creighton, which I know a lot of people aren't. I really like the makeup of their team, and like I was high on Creighton coming into the season, and like they had their ups and downs, right? Cockburner gets hurt early on. Well, not hurt. He had mono or whatever. He had some kind of illness, and they kind of stumbled, but they started figuring it out towards the end of the year. They didn't do well in the Big East tournament, but I mean that's still a team. You got great guard play. You got guys that can shoot the leather off the rock, and you got Cockburner, who's one of the best defensive centers in the league, and they don't foul, and they defend well. Like they do not foul. They're one of the best teams at not fouling. And then my third team that I'm high on coming into the tournament is the Memphis Tigers. They're hot again. I was high on them last year coming into the tournament. They let me down, but we'll see what kind of run. Oh, and Duke. Duke is playing exceptional basketball right now too. Irv, any teams you're high on right now?
You stole one of them, Memphis. But I'm high on Texas. Would have been Memphis, but now I got to find another one.
My biggest question about Texas is Rodney Terry. Like, how's he gonna perform in the big spots?
Yeah, I like the way they looked in the Big 12 tournament though. So them.
Yeah, we were on Texas for $1 million in that game. One of my buddies jokes about that, but yeah, me and a couple of my buddies were on Texas big in that game. So glad they came out and kind of was a rocking chair winner there in the second half.
Yeah, they handled business.
Texas, Gonzaga, Memphis would have been my number 3. So if I knock Memphis off because you put them on your list, I would have to go with Damn. Who else looked good during tournament play?
Grand Canyon.
Hell no. Grand Canyon getting their ass smoked probably the first game. Damn. So I gotta think because Kansas looked good till they played Texas, but we knew Kansas didn't have shit to play for. They pretty much.
Yeah, did Kansas care?
Yeah.
I don't think they did.
I don't think they cared that game. They pretty much locked up a number 1 seed. So
yeah.
I'll say Texas, Kansas, and Gonzaga.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's hop into the region. So we'll go region by region, kind of talk a little bit about the matchups early on, and then we'll move from round to round, filling out our own brackets, and we'll get to our champions at the end. So let's start in the South region. Number 1 seed Alabama taking on the winner of Texas A&M Corpus Christi and Southeast Missouri State, which I think could be a very fun game. 2 teams that play at a very high pace. I like Texas A&M's Corpus Christi to win that game and to face Alabama. Obviously, we all have Alabama winning whoever wins that game, right?
Yeah, Texas A&M Corpus Christi is kind of an interesting team. They won the Southland back-to-back years. They pretty much returned their whole team from last year. They were first in offensive and defensive efficiency in Southland. They can shoot the lights out of the gym. I've kind of rode them a little bit. That team really flows through Tennyson. Dude connected over 40% of his shots from 3 this year. So one loss in February. In Southeast Missouri State, they kind of just went on that Cinderella run in the Ohio Valley. I thought Morehead State would kind of run away with the Ohio Valley, but they like to play defense. Kind of flows through Philip Russell. Been very great against the spread all year, man. But I think Texas A&M pulls that game out.
Yeah, I like Corpus Christi in that one. But as far as Alabama versus
yeah, Alabama, it's well-known information. They've battled a whole lot of off-court issues, but, man, they are red hot right now. They kind of ran through the SEC tournament pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I do think that those off court issues might rear their head towards the end, like further along the tournament when they play bigger type schools that are going to be closer games in neutral court settings. But yeah, you're right. They are playing incredible basketball right now. Um, who do you have Alabama too moving on, Irv?
Yeah, they're gonna beat the well, nah, because Corpus Christi is a decent team. They can score, so they might be able to hang around
Hmm.
for like probably to the middle of the second half, and
Nah, they're
then
they're
the
getting
talent from
they're getting blown
Alabama
out,
take
dog.
over.
They're getting their eyes blown out.
Yeah, they probably will, but I think it won't start off. It won't start off a massacre.
Next game, Maryland and West Virginia. I think this is going to be a good game. Maryland's currently West Virginia is currently, I think, 1.5 point favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was 2.5. Yes, it was 2.5 yesterday.
I got
It's kind of been floating all over the place today.
Yeah, no, I'm still seeing it at 2.5 at most places.
Hmm.
You're
I
right.
think I think you're starting to see some twos pop, but
What's your thoughts on this one, Aaron? On this matchup?
so Maryland and West Virginia have been two of the biggest Jekyll and Hyde teams in the country. Ironically, they're playing each other.
Yep.
Maryland, it's well known information. They've been almost unbeatable at home and have struggled mightily on the road. Um, they lost to Nebraska and Ohio State down the stretch. Normally, that would be an instant fade, for me. They struggled to rebound the ball, 297th nationally, and almost did last in the country in assists. They come with the Big Ten, best 21 and 12 against the spread overall. Um, West Virginia is another wildly frustrating team. They kind of get the quick pass, because they played in a very tough conference this year. But that team will go as far as Eric Stevenson will, take them.
Yeah. I definitely think Bob Huggins has the coaching edge here. Not a big fan of Kevin
Yeah.
Willard. I think he's leaves a lot to be desired. But you're right. I mean, these are two very Jekyll and Hyde teams. West Virginia did play a tough conference, and to be honest, I thought West Virginia did a lot better this year than I anticipated. They really struggled to start out conference play. They lost their first 5 games in conference play, and then they took care of business. They beat TCU, Texas Tech. They beat Oklahoma, Iowa State, Auburn. So I mean, they beat a handful of tournament teams. This isn't anything new to them. And the other thing is they can win away from home. I'm not sure if Maryland can do that. So I like West Virginia in this one personally.
And to your point, Jordan, they were kind of banged up there. I think they lost 6 out of 7 at one point. But they were kind of banged up there down the stretch there in January and early February. So
Yeah, and they're getting they're getting good production from Trey Mitchell now too. So I don't know. I'm kind of high on West Virginia. I think West Virginia is going to win this game. I think they're going to give Bama some issues in the second round.
They just got to score early. If they hitting their shots early, they can pretty much play with anybody. But if they not scoring early, man, they give up runs. They give up some big ass runs, man.
Yeah, they do. That is their struggle. Is they do.
Yeah, they're a streaky team. Was that? No, that wasn't Kansas that went like a 32-9 run. Was it against them, or was it against somebody else?
No, I think that was the game. I think that was against TCU, but they ended up winning the game. But they were up big, and then TCU came back, and it was like a one possession game at the end, dude.
Right.
That was annoying. It's crazy too because when you think of Bob Huggins, you always think of press Virginia and defense, and like this team, they're 52nd defensive adjusted efficiency, but I feel like they're not a great defensive team this year, like the eye test.
they're better on off. They're when you watch them, it's hard to believe that they're ranked 23rd in the nation in adjusted offensive efficiency, just because they do struggle to score a lot sometimes. But once Eric Stevenson gets going, biggest thing with him too, man, that not a lot of people think about is he's got to keep his head on. He will fly off the handle, the smallest little thing and get teed up. And I don't know. I just think he's going to take that team as far as he takes them.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
I do like West Virginia in that game though, for what it's worth.
So we're all on West Virginia here beating Maryland.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's move on to the biggest public dog of the week. San Diego State versus Charleston. San Diego State, this line open -4. It's been bet all the way up to 5.5, even though a lot of money is coming on Charleston. The line has moved the opposite way. That's what we call reverse line movement. What's your thoughts on this one, Aaron?
You know, you got an Aztecs team that comes into the tournament once again. I feel like we talk about this every year.
Yep.
You know, kind of had to come from behind there against Utah State. Kind of got a little wake-up call after a couple of cruise control games. You know, I was really curious to see how they were going to respond after, what did they blow, a 14-point lead against Boise State?
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of, you know, the Boise State Super Bowl. It felt like, you know, I was curious if they were just going to kind of hang it up, you know, go into the dance like that, go into the conference tournament like that, and they kind of cruised there. I will say something about San Diego State. They defend the three ball very, very well. And, you know, we all know that's kind of what Charleston likes to do. And on the flip side, Charleston's probably got one of the best, you know, mid-major coaches in the country, Pat Kelsey. They've kind of created an environment there, you know, environment of winning. It kind of reminds me of Bryce Drew and Grand Canyon. You know, they want to be that mid-major team that no one wants to come in and play, or no one wants them to go play them. You know, Dalton Boland, he's a guy that, you know, kind of feels like he's made for March. So there's going to be a lot of people on Charleston. But ultimately, I think San Diego State takes this one.
I was very high on Charleston this year, coming into the year too. However, I just think this is a juggernaut, and Charleston hasn't played a team as athletic, long, or as strong as San Diego State. Like, this is a team that will defend you like you raped their sister. Excuse my language, but that is how they treat you.
You came up with a better analogy than that, bro.
Hey, I'm just saying, bro.
I will say something about Charleston before I pass this one along, but they are an impressive 20 and 12-1 against the spread this year, which that is quite impressive just because many of those games they were high double-digit favorites.
Yep.
So you know, to be able to cover that many games is right. Yeah, very similar. Yeah, I think they play a little different style of basketball than Iona, but you know, they play a top 30 pace. They crash the glasses. They rebound the basketball. Pat Kelsey's gonna have them boys ready to play, but I just think ultimately San Diego State pulls this one out.
Yeah, San Diego State, I think just too much for them at the end of the day. And if the thing that's interesting for this one is, like, it's going to be imperative for Charleston to kind of like play it at their pace, because if they allow San Diego State to get stops and get buckets and set up their defense, if they have to play against a set San Diego State defense, it is going to be a very, very long day for this team. Very long day. So that'll be interesting. I just think San Diego State's just way too long and athletic. Like, Charleston hasn't seen anything like this since North Carolina, and they got blew out by North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that game, going back to it, actually is a little deceiving, that final score. You know, Charleston had them on the ropes in the first half of that game. Kind of just North Carolina, you know, kind of came back to who they were. Not who they are now, but who they were. But I don't know. I'm probably not going to bet that game, but if I was betting that game, I would almost have to take Charleston as the dog. But I just think it's a game that I'll stay away from. San Diego State, you know, wins a close one there.
Damn, I bet San Diego State -4 when it opened.
Yeah,
I got good CLV on that one.
Yes, you did.
What do you think about this one, Irv?
Yeah, the San Diego State, man. They looked a little shaky against who did they play in the semifinals before the final?
Boise State.
Boise State. They looked a little shaky.
Or no, was it Boise State? No, they played Colorado State,
Boise State in the
San
final.
Jose State, and then Boise State.
So Utah State in the final. Semifinal.
Utah State in the final.
Yeah, they looked a little shaky that game, but like you said, good teams figure out a way to win ugly games, and they won that game and gave them momentum going into the final, and they beat Utah State. So I think, like you said, athleticism, when they man, if they can make the three, they could beat anybody, honestly. But you just never know what you're gonna get from 3-point land with them. And then for some reason, they forget how to shoot free throws too, man. Especially to end the game. Yeah. That'd be killing me. But if they could keep those two under wraps and that don't rear their ugly head, they can make a pretty deep run.
Well, it's imperative for them to have the ball in Matt Bradley's hand at the end of the game because he's their best free throw shooter, him and Darian Trammell and Seiko. But a lot of times, like Mensah gets an offensive rebound or the defensive rebound, they foul him, and he's like a 69% free throw shooter. So that's going to be difficult. Yeah, I just think this team is just way too. They're nothing like Charleston's seen all year. So give me San Diego State. All right, let's move. Oh, this is a good one, Aaron. Virginia versus Furman. I know you got Furman winning this one.
The Virginia Cavaliers, here we are again. I was afraid that they would, limp into the ACC tournament after what turned out to be just a horrible February for them. My goodness. Just felt like they were kind of asleep at the wheel there. But that wasn't the case. They came in and had a strong showing against a North Carolina team, came out and beat the brakes off of Clemson and probably kept Clemson out of the big dance because of that loss to them. I think it was a little fatigue there at the end. We all know UVA struggles to score at times and they can't shoot free throws either. Kind of what you were talking about San Diego State. That makes me, kind of nervous for into the game situations, kind of like ball handlers. But with all that being said and done, they're still a top 10 defensive team that's going to make you work for every point you get. If someone takes over the offensive side of this team, somebody like a Beekman, Isaac McNeely starts hitting his shots. I think they can give Furman problems. Furman finally kind of got over the hump in the SoCon. If you follow the SoCon, I follow Southern Conference in the Big South. A lot. My wife graduated from High Point, so that task has kind of haunted Furman for years. But you're talking about a team that's 11th in the nation in points per game. They got the Southern Conference Player of the Year in Jalen Slauson. I think somebody like a Jaden Gardner or Ryan Dunn will probably defend him. Furman's not an elite three-point shooting team. They're a pretty good three-point shooting team, but what they want to do kind of is out there on the perimeter. UVA is probably going to pack it in and make them shoot over top of them. I actually tweeted this out. This was one of my plays for the week. I actually grabbed Virginia -5 before it moved to 5.5 today.
Ooh. I didn't bet this game, but I got Furman in my bracket moving on in an upset.
It's going to be a trendy one.
Yeah, I just think this is another one of those two different styles, and if Furman can impose their style on and push the ball and play at their pace, I don't think Virginia can score enough buckets. Now, obviously, Virginia is a much better defensive team, and if Virginia can get stops and play at their pace, it bodes well for them. The problem is that Virginia is not a very efficient offense, and so they have to make buckets to set their defense. And can they do that is the biggest thing for me. I don't like I said, I didn't bet this game because I don't have a strong conviction on it. But in my bracket, I'm going to take Furman just because, I got to have a 13-4 upset somewhere. Actually, I got two of them in my bracket. This is one of them. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Virginia wins this game by 20. It's either going to go one way. Virginia's going to win by blowout or Furman's going to win a close one.
Yeah, I don't see Virginia losing this game, even if Furman probably covers. But I think Virginia just finds a way to pull it out and win it.
All right. So I'm the only one taking Furman. I like it. All right, let's move on to Creighton and NC State. This is an interesting matchup, too. NC State is talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team. They at times they look like one of the best teams, and then there's times like the game against Clemson where they look like they don't even belong on the floor. What do you think about this one, Aaron Kidd?
Yeah, actually, Clemson ran them out the gym there into the regular season too. They were just kind of a no-show against them in two games. We know Smith's the alpha. My question would be, who's the beta? I actually watched NC State play in person this year against Virginia. I thought our UVA transfer Casey Morsell could step up, be that guy. As far as Creighton goes, I think to your point earlier, Ryan Kalkbrenner being healthy. Whatever he had mono, I think it was that kept him out there
Yep.
for a while. It's well-known information. They're a different team with him in there. I will say something that we haven't talked about, though. Creighton is a very efficient defensive team, first in the Big East this year. Um, I think once in a while they struggle to find their offensive identity, but I think Greg McDermott's going to have them boys to play. Doesn't it feel like they kind of underachieved to a degree this year? I think there's some positive regression coming for Creighton.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Creighton underachieved. I mean, they were the outright favorite to win the Big East, and they weren't even close. But like you said, a lot of it has to do with injuries and such that's kind of out of their control. Um, yeah, I think Creighton's just too much inside. And NC State, they become so one-on-one with Joyner and Terquavion Smith, I'm sorry, that
Mm-hmm.
I think that at the end of the day, like Creighton's gonna move the ball, they're gonna get good shots, and it's gonna force NC State to try to make things happen. And I think we saw this with Clemson too. Like, and we saw it in the first matchup against Virginia Tech. Smith and Joyner just went ham. Like, they just were hitting everything. And then the very next game, they stopped hitting those shots, and look what happens. Like, that's kind of how NC State's season is gone. I think this is going to be a tough going for them. I like Creighton here.
Yeah, as far as on a gambling side, if I was gambling, which I'm staying away from this game, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Creighton's been really bad against the spread this year, 16-17 overall. I think I'd like NC State, is almost a touchdown underdog here, but I think Creighton ultimately pulls it out for all intents and bracket purposes.
Yeah, Creighton, I think the market overvalued them coming into the year, obviously, and that's where a lot of their ATS losses, I mean, they started the year, they were 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, they were like 7 they were like 7-14 to start the year against the spread. Like, that's terrible. So I think,
and let's face it, I mean, call it for what it is. The Big East was tough this year.
yeah, no, it's a definitely very tough, very, very tough conference. So I like Creighton here. What do you think, Irv?
Yeah, Big East, man. Them in the Big 12. I'm gonna have a hard time fading people playing against those teams. So Creighton, like you said, they were hot at the beginning of the year, especially when they went on the road. I think was it Providence they beat at home? They beat somebody at home. Played a damn good game. But then like towards the end, like y'all said, they tailed off a little bit, but they feel like they got their mojo back during the tournament. So I'll take Creighton in this one. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. It's probably gonna be close. But the thing is, if NC State not hitting their shots from deep, because that's their bread and butter, this shit might get ugly.
Yep. So we're all on Creighton here.
And then another thing too, Creighton is a very good offensive rebounding team, and sometimes NC State struggles rebounding the ball, so that could be a recipe for disaster.
Good point. And NC State gets in foul trouble very often, and Creighton shoots free throws very well, and Creighton also doesn't foul.
So
and that could be an issue for NC State as well. All right, let's move on to the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara against the Baylor Bears. This is a 9.5, 10-point game right now, depending on where you shop at. What's your thought on this one, Aaron?
I mean, that line's getting hit. I think it opened at 10.5 yesterday. I haven't been overly impressed with UC Santa Barbara this year. I thought it was kind of a down year for the Big West. I kind of just kept wanting Zion, Poulin, and them to kind of just take that Big West over, and they just never did. AJ Mitchell had a good year for UC Santa Barbara, but I think a lot of people are just expecting Baylor to just, throw their hands up in the air and quit. But I mean, we're talking about a team that, what they did 2 years ago when no one expected them to. I think Baylor comes in here and steams rolls them, man. Flagler, those guards, man, they just give you so much problems. They can shoot the lights out of the gym. The biggest thing I think they got to do is they struggle on the defensive side of the ball a little bit this year. I think they just got to kind of put their feet in the sand and dig in a little bit.
Yeah, UC Santa Barbara's biggest weakness on defense is they're not good against the three. That's going to be an issue in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be all bad.
That's where I think this goes bad. And at the end of the day, like Miles Norris and AJ Mitchell are great players, but You know, aside from those guys, nobody else on this UC Santa Barbara team would see the floor on Baylor. You know what I mean? So Baylor's just way too talented, in my opinion. I actually thought the Big West was good this year. But I didn't think Santa Barbara was the best team in this conference. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm shocked that they're here. I thought UC Irvine was the best team in the conference. This conference is just so unpredictable, man. Like, Hawaii looked like the best team for a little bit. Irvine looked like the best team, and Santa Barbara pulls it out.
Fullerton looked good pretty at times this year.
Yeah, Fullerton looked good. I just think this game, I think Baylor's going to blow the brakes off UC Santa Barbara, unfortunately. This is a bad matchup for them. Very bad matchup.
Yeah, actually, I think, I knew UC Santa Barbara would be a trendy double-digit dog, dog here is a trendy pick, but this line keeps getting hit the other way. I might punch back a little bit and take Baylor.
Yeah. If it gets under 9, I will take Baylor.
That's where I was thinking. Yep.
But as far as like 9 or more, I have no conviction. Like, I'm not gonna take UC Santa Barbara in this game at all.
No, it's Baylor or nothing for me. I can tell you that.
Yep. Or what do you think?
Baylor.
Yep.
UC Santa Barbara been too inconsistent, and you can't beat a team like Baylor playing basketball the way they play basketball sometimes. And sometimes they can look like a damn good team, and then they got stretches where 7-8 minutes they go without a bucket, or they just throwing up every damn thing and it's hitting the rim. They can't hit the ocean.
That's actually a good point, because if they go cold, this could get very ugly.
Yeah, it's gonna get bad real quick.
Good point. All right, let's move on to our next game. We got Missouri and Utah State. We talked about this one earlier. This one opened as a pick 'em at most spots. Utah State got bet up 2.5. Seen some action come in on Missouri, kind of push it down a little bit. Who do you like here, Aaron?
As I said earlier, man, I'm on Utah State on this one.
Yep. I too am on Utah State. I just think Missouri, they're 178th in defensive efficiency. They also give up 35% from 3-point, which is 266 in the country. I think that is a recipe for disaster in this game. I like Utah State. And I don't know why Red Eagle Sports has – I don't know why they like Mizzou.
Yeah, I think Colby Brown, he takes charge. He may be able to go on a little run. I'm sure it'll be a little sleeper pick. A lot of people will be on, to make a little run. But I think Utah State takes care of business.
Yes, sir. And then Arizona, Princeton. Do you think Princeton has a chance?
As I said earlier, Arizona, struggles at times on the defensive side. I think Princeton has a good chance to cover the large number there, but Arizona will find a way to pull it out there at the end.
Yeah, Arizona just – I think Tubelis and Ballo are just going to dominate inside. I don't think Princeton has enough size for them. Princeton, the biggest guy in their lineup, 6'9", Keyshawn Keller. I mean, aside from him, everybody else is 6'4". They got a 6'8" guy, but this one might get ugly. You agree, Irv?
Ugly. That's the only word. That's the only word I got for this game. It's gonna get ugly.
All right, so we all on the same side here. All right, let's move on to the East region. We'll open with Purdue and the winner of Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson. I think we all would like Purdue against either one of those teams, right?
Texas Southern just keeps doing it. They just keep finding a way to get to the tournament, but Purdue will roll either of them.
Yep, I agree. Irv, you like Texas Southern or Fairleigh Dickinson to put up a fight against Purdue?
Yeah, they're gonna give them a run for their money. I'm just playing. Nah. Wait, Purdue is a 2 or a 1?
Purdue's the 1 seed.
Yeah, they not losing. Damn. But it would be great to see a 1 seed lose again, but I don't think they're gonna be that bad.
Yeah, no, it won't be to this. It won't be to this one.
It won't be this team, but I don't got Purdue making it out of the first weekend.
Yeah, I don't like Purdue getting out the first weekend either. We'll get to that in a minute. Memphis versus FAU. This could be a very good matchup stylistically. What do you think about this one, Aaron?
Florida Atlantic Owls.
Really?
I think Memphis, the AAC, no matter what people say about Tulane and Wichita State and all that, the AAC really wasn't that great in my opinion this year. Um, I, I think the Conference USA, man, UAB, North Texas, these guys battled and battled, and I, 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 if I had to play that FAU UAB game, I thought UAB was going to beat them, and FAU kind of just came in and steamrolled them, got a little revenge from earlier in the season. I'm actually on. I think the Owls are going to pull this one out.
Ooh, I like it with some conviction. What do you think, Irv?
This is.
Memphis versus FAU.
I just think Memphis is too hot, too athletic. FAU can score, but the problem is they give up points too. So
Yeah, they
I
play at a
think,
very fast pace.
yeah, I think Memphis, yeah, them playing at that fast pace is gonna play in the Memphis hands because Memphis is very athletic. They can get out and run.
I
Um,
the thing is, I think both these teams are like very even. That's the crazy thing. I think the line is like perfectly set.
yeah, but I don't know.
It
Memphis is hot.
opened at 3, but it's at 1.5 at a lot of places, and FAU may run off the favorite here.
Yeah, they. I mean, that seems about right to me. 1.5. But at the end of the day, Memphis has the best player on the floor, so I'm gonna take Memphis. Kendrick Davis.
The tournament is all about your best player stepping up.
And this is his first tourney too. He been waiting for this.
Yeah, he was the one crying after they beat Houston, right?
Yeah,
Or was
because
that another one?
he was on SMU last year, and SMU got, they were right on the bubble,
Damn.
and then
Yeah.
they didn't make the tournament. He transfers to Memphis, by far and away their best player. I think, but to be fair, I think either of these teams beats Purdue in the next game. Either of them. I don't care if it's Florida Atlantic. I don't care if it's Memphis. Either of these teams.
All
are
they got to
beating
do is
Purdue.
trap them guards. You seen what what Penn State did?
Yeah, in like 2 minutes, dude. If they did that the whole first
I think
half
it
or
was a
second half.
22-6 run in like
Yeah,
2.5 minutes of game
erased
time.
erased
Yeah,
it.
just erased it.
17-point lead, something like that. 16, 17-point lead. Sheesh.
They would have won that game. All right, let's move on to our second public dog game. That's Duke versus Oral Roberts. Public heavy on Oral Roberts here. We've seen the line move down. It opened 7.5. I think it's at 6.5 at most spots now. What do you think about this one, Aaron?
I think to your point, Oral Roberts would be another top dog. Recency bias. What have you done for me lately? We all made a whole lot of money on their run. A couple years ago to the tournament through the tournament. I think they covered every game for that run they were on. But anyways, I just think this Duke team has gotten hot at the right time. Shire's got them boys ready to play. I watched it live. I went down to the ACC tournament and watched them beat Miami the other night. And I think Duke's size, man, they just stuffed the paint, stuffed the lane. UVA couldn't get anything going in the hoop against them. And I actually think Duke pulls away from them.
Yeah, I'm with you. Duke's also one of the best teams in the country at defending the three. They definitely have the size and length advantage on Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts is a terrible offensive rebounding team, so they're going to be one and done, and that might become an issue in this game. I think Duke, like you said, man, they're just clicking at the right time. This is just they're a really good team, and out of nowhere, man, Kyle Filipowski started looking like Dirk Nowitzki, and I don't know where this came from, but out of nowhere, man, this dude just be like filling it up, shooting like 45% from three in the last week and a half. It's gonna be tough to beat them right now.
So this is not Lehigh versus Duke, I see. But yeah, dude, like you said, Duke is just too big. Duke is just too big. They playing real good ball right now. And Oral Roberts they just can't match up with them physically or athletically. So I think this one's gonna be ugly.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's move on to Tennessee and Louisiana. Tennessee, I thought they got a fair draw here because obviously they are, lost to Kai Ziegler for the year. That's their starting point guard. They haven't looked very good in the last 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. But I think they're too much for Louisiana here. What do you think, Aaron?
I think Louisiana has the opportunity to cover the big spread here. I think it's 10.5. Tennessee's been inconsistent to say the least on the offensive side of the ball, but we're still talking about a team that is kind of like a Virginia, kind of like a St. Mary's. They're going to make you work for every point you score. So I think Tennessee pulls away here, but if I was betting this game, I'd actually take Louisiana.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I have no interest in betting this game. What do you think, Irv?
Me neither. I'm not betting it, but Tennessee gonna pull it out. I wouldn't be surprised if Louisiana covers because Tennessee just struggles to put the ball in the hoop sometimes. But the way they play defense, man, if they had Ziegler, they could probably beat anybody in this tournament. But they not winning this tournament without him. So,
Yep.
but I do got them. I do got them winning their first game though. They probably won't cover, but they'll win.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to Kentucky and Providence, another team limping in here, which is, I mean, both of these teams kind of limping in here. But Providence has been a shit show the last couple of weeks. Senior day, they get blown out of their gym. What do you think about this one here?
I mean, I just think Ed Cooley's always going to have them boys ready to play. Won a couple games last year. But Kentucky's kind of on the same, I don't know, trajectory. It feels like they've kind of underachieved all year. Calipari's up in the air. I be honest, I really don't have a lot of opinion in this game. I kind of like Providence actually.
Damn, I like Kentucky in this game. I just think they have the better players when all is said and done. But I'm with you. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Providence won this game at all. I just think that at the end of the day, like, Cason Wallace and Antonio Reeves they're the two best players on the floor, and they happen to be on the same team. So I'm gonna take Kentucky. And Oscar Tshiebwe, he kind of been a disappointment this year after winning National Player of the Year last year. He took a massive step back. He hasn't looked nearly as good. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't love this game, but I mean, Providence getting blown out on Senior Day, and then like they haven't won a game since. That's terrible. That's all bad. They got blown out by Seton Hall. Seton Hall can't score.
They did have a tough UConn team.
They what? What do you think, Irv?
Yeah, Providence is not playing good. Kentucky playing a little better, and you said they got better play. They got two best players on the floor is gonna be on their team.
Yep. I think so.
Yeah, I got a hard time picking Providence in that game. That loss on senior night just put them on auto fade for me.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to good matchup here. 3-14. Kansas State versus Montana State. What do you think about this one? Does Danny Sprinkle get it done?
Montana State's got a really good player on Battle. I know me and you were both on the same side in the championship there on Northern Arizona, and they kind of backdoor covered for us on a late foul. But
Yep.
I think Kansas State runs away with this one. Kind of like Texas Tech did to Montana State in the tournament last year.
Yeah, I do think Montana State's better this year than they were last year, but yeah, I mean, I've gone like back and forth on this one so many times since the brackets came out. Like, because I do think that Montana State, like, they do pose a kind of, like, they play good defense. You know what I mean? And Kansas State isn't, like, a great offensive team. Like, they get up and down the floor. But they don't shoot it necessarily well. Like, they don't even shoot from two. Like, they don't score efficiently from two all that much either. Like, they really rely on getting turnovers and forcing teams to do that. And Kansas State also turns the ball over a lot. 20% of their offensive possessions end up in turnovers. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually getting hit too. So the market definitely agrees with you. It's gotten whacked all the way down to 8.5 a lot of places.
Yeah, I definitely like Montana State to cover. This is one game that I have bet. But as far as winning it, I don't know. Kansas State probably pulls it out. But for my bracket purposes, I'm putting Montana State, which gives me 3 upsets, which is not gonna happen. So I gotta go back and look at this and revise a little bit. But I'll take Montana State just to be a contrarian here. What do you think, Irv?
Yeah, Montana State not winning this game.
Man, I like Raekwon Battle though. He's nice.
Yeah, battle's tough, man.
He's nice. But you're right. At the end of the day, Kansas State probably just too much for him. I'll probably honestly switch back to Kansas State for my bracket, but I'm taking Montana State to cover. All right, Michigan State versus USC. Michigan State right now 2-point favorite in the game. What do you think about this one?
You know, when you talk about teams limping in, it felt like Michigan State kind of limping in here. You know, I think the Pac-12 and you guys being on the West Coast there appreciated more than most people on the East Coast over here. But Pac-12 I thought was pretty tough this year. I thought USC would beat Miami last year in the tournament, and of course Miami pulls that out at the end. But I think USC takes care of business here.
Yeah, I like USC. That's also a biased opinion. You know what I mean? But you know, Michigan State, like, they rely so heavily on the three ball, 39% from three, 33% of their field goal attempts are from three. USC doesn't really necessarily do a great job at defending the three, but they're not bad. But the one deficiency USC has is their interior defense isn't that great because they're very undersized. They have Joshua Morgan and then they have Iwuchukwu, and that's about it. But Michigan State is not great on the interior, which plays to USC's benefit. And once again, when it comes to a very even matchup, I'm going to go with the team with the best player on the floor. Boogie Ellis is the best player on the floor in this game, which tends me to go to USC. My biggest concern about USC, and I tell this to Irv all the time, is that Drew Peterson shrinks in big games. Every single big game, he shrinks. He plays like a suburban.
Happened last year in the tournament.
Happens any big game this guy plays, he shrinks. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but he just cannot get it together. That is a concern of mine, but I think USC gets it done.
Yeah, him and them turnovers, bro.
Yep, he turns it over, shoots in efficiently. Like against Arizona State, he was like 2 for 14. Like, dude, you can't.
And like 1 for 9 from 3-point land or some shit like that. 1 for 8.
Can't win like that, man. Can't win with them. Can't do it. You know?
I'd rather play with 10.
Yeah. All right, what do we think about Marquette and Vermont?
If I was betting the game, I like the Vermont. You know, getting double digits here. Marquette, though, I think Marquette finally pulls it out. But Vermont is a scary team. You know, they took Arkansas kind of to the end there last year in the tournament. They're a team that's going to be ready to play. They're not afraid of anybody, but ultimately Marquette is just a step above them here.
Yep, I agree. Irv, you agree?
Yeah, y'all spot on with that. Marquette just, even though they wasn't too high on the offensive end in that championship game. Yeah, I don't think they get challenged too much in this game.
I would say though, if I was looking at this game, it would be Vermont or nothing for me as far as a gambling standpoint.
Yeah, we know Shaka, how he likes to do is a big favorite, tends to not cover spreads. Vermont was 19-14-1 against the spread this year, and to your point with Colgate, you know, a lot of Vermont's lines are really big too, and they ended up covering them. And they also played a very tough non-conference schedule as well, which I think helped them in conference play. So I agree. If you're gonna bet this game, I would take Vermont, but I think Marquette's gonna win. All right, let's move over to the Midwest. Houston and Northern Kentucky.
Bloodbath McGrath.
You know, I've actually seen a lot of people taking Northern Kentucky here. I think they're catching about 20 points.
They might come.
And no Marcus Sasser probably won't play either.
Yep. And, you know, Northern Kentucky was the team I was on, Youngstown State, to win the Horizon. They kind of come out. They played a pretty efficient game against Youngstown State, got Youngstown in a shooting match, and Youngstown State likes to get stuff going to the rim more than out shooting you. So, I don't know. I think Houston wins this game, but Northern Kentucky might stick around long enough to cover the 20 points.
Yeah, and I think so, especially without Marcus Sasser. I mean, we saw how Houston looked without Marcus Sasser on Sunday against Memphis. I mean, he is their as good as Jamal Shed is. You know, Marcus Sasser is definitely their engine. You know what I mean? Like he's their offensive engine. Last year he missed the tournament. Big reason why they didn't move on in advance. I said from the beginning of the year, before the year even started, I said Houston's the best team in the country. I still stand by that today. So I'm riding Houston until the wheels fall off. Hopefully they don't fall off against a 16 seed. All right, let's move on to Iowa Auburn. I think this is another interesting matchup. What do you think about this one, Aaron?
It's another Jekyll and Hyde matchup.
Agreed.
You know, just Jekyll and Hyde. You know, Iowa. They just always feel like they're a team that's in the tournament and just never figures out a way to get there. I don't have a whole lot of opinion on this one.
I like Auburn in this game. I don't trust Iowa at all. Like every year, like you said, they get in the tournament and they lose the first weekend, and usually they're a lot higher seed and they have a better matchup. And now you get an Auburn team, you know, and this Auburn team, they're scrappy, man. They are very scrappy. Wendell Green, he's a nice player, and you know Bruce Pearl's been here. He's done that. They definitely have the coaching edge. You know, Fran McCaffrey is going to be staring down the officials, and he'll be getting in their head a little bit. But
getting a technical here and there.
Yeah.
Auburn's just another one of these teams, though, man, that just struggle to score the basketball. Just I don't know.
Yep.
It's so frustrating sometimes.
But I think they're going to shut Iowa down. Like they're going to make it so hard for them to score that they're going to get some easy buckets. Because Iowa's not a great defensive team at all.
I kind of lost faith in Auburn after I think it was the first Alabama game.
Oh, when they were up 6 and gave away
tied or up at half. Yes, and just completely blow that and don't even cover.
Yeah,
I was just kind of frustrated with them.
Yeah, no, that was a very frustrating. Trust me, I was on Auburn, man. They were up 6 points with 2 minutes to go, and they don't even cover. They lose outright. What do you think here, Irv?
Yeah, like I said, Auburn, they have the athletes. They just got to be able to put the ball in the hoop. They could start off. Oh, I forgot who they was playing that one game. They had like damn near 60 points at halftime. Then the next game, they come out and struggle to score, barely hit 60-something points the next game. So
sounds like Auburn.
Yeah, they played Missouri and then come back and lose against Vanderbilt. Don't even score 60. They scored 65 points against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, like, bro, like that's not. If they can find any consistency, they can make a deep run into this tournament because they gave all the teams in their conference a run for their money. They should have beat Bama twice, couldn't finish the game, fell apart twice against Bama in the second half, blew double-digit leads in both those games. So they proven they can play with people. And like I said, Iowa is just inconsistent. They lost to Ohio State, so and we all know what Ohio State been this year. So yeah, give me Auburn in this game.
Fighting Fran McCaffrey's, dude. All right, this is another trendy play here. 12-5 matchup, Miami versus Duke. What do you think about this one, Aaron? Because I know you're really high on Miami.
You know, I'm high on Miami. I've seen them play in person this year as well. I just think those three guards are definitely probably the best in the ACC and probably some of the best guards besides Baylor in the country. Drake's a trendy pick. You know, recency bias again. It's always one of those. You know, when someone looks at their bracket and they haven't watched any college basketball, but then the next week they're like, "Oh, Drake. Oh yeah, I've heard. Yeah, they're good. They're gonna beat Miami." I think Miami takes this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Miami is way too much, and like Irv knows this. I'm done fading Miami because every time I fade them, they end up winning.
Yep.
So, I'm on the Miami train. I just think at the end of the day, Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller, Nigel Pack, just way too much. For Drake, I think they're way too much athleticism, and they're gonna make buckets, man. They are gonna make buckets. I like Miami here. Irv?
Yeah, Miami. They're gonna do their thing.
Damn, we're all on Miami. The rest of the world's all on Drake.
Well,
it usually bodes well, though.
That does. All right, this is another interesting matchup here. Indiana.
I think us three know more than most of the rest of the world, so we'll be all right.
There we go. Indiana and Kent State.
Woo! Ooh, that's gonna be a good
Yeah,
one.
so I'll actually have a little plug here. I'll actually be in Albany for the second round matchups. Sunday, I'll be in Syracuse Thursday, Friday, Saturday watching the games, but I'll be in Albany Sunday, and I will be watching Kent State play Miami Sunday. So I think
Oh,
Sincere Carey and them boys get it done. The MAC was tough this year. I think the MAC had a good year. The Akron was tough. Toledo was tough.
yep.
And I
Ball
think
State was
Sincere
good too.
Carey is on a mission. So, we talk about these guys and these matchups, these guys that feel like they're made for March. And I feel like that's an upset brewing there. So I like Kent State here.
I like it. I like it. This is so I picked every 13 seed to beat the 4 seed.
Hmm.
Oh no, not every 13. Just Iona, Kent State, and Furman. But I like Kent State in this game. I do think they win. I'm probably gonna go back and change Furman to Virginia. But I like Kent State here. I think Kent State, like you said, this is just a terrible matchup for Indiana because they are gonna put Jalen Hood-Schifino in a blender, and that could pose some issues. However, Trace Jackson Davis, I mean, he is one of the best players in the country. So there's always that possibility. And, Kent State's not a big team, but neither is Indiana, to be honest. Trace Jackson Davis only 6'9". It's not like he's a huge dude. I'm saying.
Yeah, Penn State kind of played some small ball and kind of beat them up there.
Yep. And that's the way to beat them, dude. And you pressure their guards. What do you think, Irv?
Yeah, it's gonna be a real fast paced up and down game. I don't know. I like the way Kent State looked in that final, man, but I don't think they beat. I don't think they beat. What's the name? They play in Miami, right?
Who?
Indiana.
Oh, Indiana. Ooh, they got a shot against Indiana because Indiana is real streaky too, and they like blowing leads. So,
Yep.
it gotta be. I gotta have some type of upsets. Give me Kent State on this one. I like Kent State.
Like it. We're all on Kent State. Not a good thing. All right. Iowa State versus the winner of Mississippi State and Pitt. What do you guys think about this one?
I think Pitt's got to kind of adjust to Mississippi State's game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mississippi State doesn't win that game against Pitt. And Iowa State, though, just been wildly inconsistent.
Yep. They very much have. And now Caleb Grill is no longer with the team. He was their best shooter. You know what I mean? I think that Mississippi State, honestly, I like Mississippi State to beat Pitt. I like Mississippi State to also beat Iowa State.
Yeah, I'll ride with that. I think that's a good call.
That's going to be first team to 40 wins.
Yeah, it's like a North Texas, I don't know if you guys watched NIT at all last year, but UVA and North Texas played each other, and that was just brutal. I was on an airplane coming back from Vegas, and I can't remember the final score, went to overtime, but it felt like it was like 33 to 42,
That's horrible.
That's a North Texas, Virginia type of game there.
Yes, it is.
I was watching the game. The final score was 51 to like 44, some shit like that.
That was North Texas and Charlotte.
Yep.
And Hawaii had
That's kind of the game that took North Texas off the bubble too, because North Texas had a chance to get in as an at-large and got beat in Charlotte.
Yep.
And I know Hawaii played a super low scoring game too. I think it was against Cal State Northridge.
Cal State Fullerton.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a very low scoring game. All right, Xavier versus Kennesaw State.
Xavier.
Kennesaw State, I believe this is their first tournament. They kind of upset a very good Liberty team who I'm anxious to see play Villanova in the NIT tomorrow night. I've seen a lot of people liking this dog here as far as covering the spread, but I think Xavier gets it done ultimately.
Yeah, I think Xavier gets it done, although, yeah, I just think they're too much. Xavier, Kennesaw State doesn't really have a ton of experience either. I think it'll be a good game though. I'd probably take Kennesaw State with the points if I were to bet it. Sean Miller, remember when he lost with Arizona and DeAndre Ayton to Buffalo. So
yep.
Could be a similar situation, but I feel like he's grown as a coach. But I like them. I thought they were gonna hang around with Marquette, and they got blown out against Marquette in Big East championship, and I know Fremantle didn't play, and he's not gonna play. So I like
The number's still hanging around 11.5 too, so not a lot of movement on that one.
yeah, I like Xavier here. Mississippi State might be able to beat Xavier though. That'll be a interesting matchup. All right, let's move on. Texas A&M and Penn State.
Penn State's been a great story. Jalen Pickett, probably one of the best point guards in the nation. Kind of looked like the wheels fell off a little bit there for a little bit in the Purdue game. Fatigue probably set in. They match up horribly against Texas A&M, though. I think Texas A&M takes care of business here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Big East run was nice for Penn State, but I think the truck stops here. I think we get a Texas versus Texas A&M matchup in the second round.
But I do think Tucker Richardson and Colgate will be able to shoot the ball some against Texas and be able to stick around and cover the 2-touchdown spread here.
Is Tucker a senior?
I believe he's a junior. Let me double check that.
Yeah, he should hit the transfer portal and come to USC next year.
When you look at like metrics and indispensable guys, he's one of the top 10 indispensable play nations. So
we could use that type of shooting. Get Drew Pierce. I'm glad this is Drew Peterson last year. Get his ass off my team.
Yeah. Nah, Tucker Richardson.
I do think Texas ultimately wins the game, but I think it's easily a 81-71 type of game. Colgate covers the 2-touchdown spread here.
Yeah, I agree. Irv, you're on Texas too?
Yeah, but I think, like I said, I don't know. I don't think Texas covered at 13 though, because like I said, Colgate could score. So I love the over.
Yeah, that over might be good play. Although unders are pretty trendy for the first round.
I know, that's what I was thinking too, because I was like, it'd be a lot of low scoring games the first 2 rounds.
Shaking off the jitters.
First half unders is the way to go. Over 61% in the last, I think it's 13 years.
Sheesh.
All right, let's move on to the West, our final bracket. Kansas versus Howard. I think we all got Kansas moving on there.
Massacre.
Yep. All right, Arkansas, Illinois. This is an interesting matchup here.
2 teams that love and love starting slow.
Yeah, talk about first half under. This is probably it.
Yeah, Tucker Richardson is a senior. I actually personally like Illinois in this game.
Oh, we are on opposite sides. I like Arkansas.
Whoever have the least amount of turnovers, but bet the under for sure.
Yeah, this is gonna be a rock fight for sure. This is what is the total on this game right now? Like 123.5?
I'm on that under for sure for this one. Let me check for you. They play Thursday or Friday, right?
Thursday.
Yeah, Musselman will have Arkansas ready to play. That's just another team that struggles to score the basketball and just goes on droughts. Look what happened in the SEC tournament.
Yep.
The over-under is 143.5.
Oh, that's way too high. Give me the under. Dude, Illinois shoots 30% from 3. They're 331st in the country. Arkansas shoots 31%, which is 304th in the country. Arkansas defense, 26th against the 3. Illinois defense, not very good against the 3. But Illinois, overall, defensive efficiency, 32nd. Arkansas, 16th. This game going way under. There's no way this game goes over 143.5. I like Arkansas in my bracket. I'm going to take the under, though. I like the under in this play.
I think Illinois pulls off the mild upset here.
Ooh. Every time I go against Aaron, he always wins, so that's a tough one.
I'm on that under for sure.
Yeah, I like the under. All right, St. Mary's versus VCU. This is another trendy dog here. What do you think about this one, Aaron?
I was talking to a good friend of mine about this game a little before I hopped on here with you guys, and VCU is definitely another one of those trendy dogs. I can't remember how many years it feels like in a row. A 12 is beating a 5. St. Mary's is going to make you work for every point you score. They're going to make you play a half court, offense and half court defense with their style of play on offense. But VCU's a team that likes to go out and run. They get hot from three. They can shoot the lights out of the gym. But personally, I think St. Mary's ultimately comes away with it.
Yeah, I like St. Mary's in this one. I just think they're the better team. But one thing I hope that they've been practicing is how to break a press. Because since that San Diego game, they've struggled, and I know VCU is going to come out and probably press them to start the game, and they should do it as well. My issue with VCU is they're not a great scoring offense, and against Dayton they had guys that shoot like 27% from three, just shooting the leather off of it at the end of the game. I think the buck stops here though. St. Mary's is one of the best defenses in the entire country, and they are really good at defending and creating turnovers, and they're also a very efficient offense as well. So I like St. Mary's here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, though, and I do like St. Mary's to cover this game. I think it's at like 4.5 right now. 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think St. Mary's covers and wins outright. What do you think, Irv?
St. Mary's, St. Mary's, St. Mary's. My favorite team that I love to hate so much. If they come out and they get I don't think the thing I hate about them is they get a lead and they just stop shooting the damn basketball, man.
But they've learned from that. Now their issue is breaking a press.
Yeah, so
but dude, they've had a week and a half to do it. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's all they've practiced.
If they could break the press, they'll be all right. But man, it's just they come out in the first half and look like world beaters, like the best team in the nation. And then for some reason, in the second half,
St. Mary's also a great rebounding team. VCU not a great rebounding team. VCU, 241st in the country in clearing the defensive glass. Can't give St. Mary's opportunities.
Yeah, I think St. Mary's wins, but I don't. They just gonna make it hard when it should be easy. That's the only thing I like about St. Mary's.
They do that, but that's because they play at such a slow pace, so they don't give themselves a lot of room to work with. But they have been playing a little bit faster in the last week and a half.
Shout out to the Gales, though. I think they bring this one home.
Yep. Speaking of Gales, UConn versus Iona.
Oh, I'm riding with Iona plus that 9. Best bet of the weekend.
Yeah, if I was betting the game, I'd probably look at Iona with the spread, but I think Connecticut ultimately takes care of it.
No way. No how. The Iona Gales pull.
I think Jordan's on that.
Yep.
Jordan's going to take the Gales to match up with the Gales in the next round.
That's right. The Gales versus Gales. And that's going to be that would be an interesting matchup. But this is why I like Iona in this game. And I've talked to Irv about this a little bit. But first of all, Danny Hurley, not a great tournament coach. That's the first. Let's throw that out there. Rick Pitino, great tournament coach. This guy's been doing it a long time. He's won national championships. He's made Final Fours. He knows what he's doing. This Iona team is very talented too. Walter Clayton Jr., Jelly Joseph, Dennis Jenkins. This is a better team than last year, and last year's Iona team was really good. Not only that, St. Peter's made a deep tournament run last year. This Iona team is way better than that St. Peter's team. But here's why I like Iona specifically. Iona is 44th in the country in creating turnovers. Connecticut turns the ball over 19% of their possessions, which is 234th in the country. Iona's going to press them from the jump. That's what they do. They get turnovers and they get buckets. And then at the end of games, they got Walter Clayton Jr., who's a 92% free throw shooter, and he closes the game out. I like Iona here. It is going to be trouble for them, Sanogo and Klingon. They are going to have to crash the boards as a team. That is going to be an issue. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it because they are 272nd in defensive rebounding. But I do think that they're going to create enough turnovers and they're going to hit enough shots and they're going to win this game in a close one. The Gales of Iona, a nursing school. Let's go. All right, moving on. TCU versus the winner of ASU and Nevada. Who you got?
We'll go with the upset.
Yes, so
Go ahead, Aaron.
oh no, go ahead, Swerve.
I was gonna say I like Nevada. If they beat Arizona State, which I got them beating Arizona State, I got them pulling the upset in this game.
Ooh. Ooh.
Arizona State's been very good against the spread all year, though.
They can't shoot though. After that shooting performance against USC,
Yeah, they wasted all their bullets.
which I hated them that night. It was some bullshit. They shot 55% from three. I don't think they did that in the last decade. But
Yep.
after
I
that,
TCU's another team that's been inconsistent at times. You know, times this year they've looked like the best team in the country, and other times they look like not the greatest team in the country. So I don't have a huge opinion in this one.
No Eddie Lampkin either.
I think Nevada gets it done in that first game against Arizona State, but that Arizona State's team's played well this year. Bobby Hurley's got them boys ready to play, so I don't have a ton of opinion in this one.
Yeah, they
don't play well because they coach well, but I just think Nevada pulls it out.
Yeah, I like Nevada to win that game, and then I like TCU to beat whoever wins that game, though, ultimately.
Yeah, I think so, too.
This guys got to go with some upsets, I like that.
Bro, I got 3 13 seeds winning. I don't know how, but
I gotta
revise this a little bit.
You're gonna be busting a lot of people brackets.
But I also feel like sometimes we always get stuck looking for Cinderella, and sometimes the value is on the favorite. So
yeah, it's very true. And like last year, I felt I had a lot of Cinderellas, and this year I feel like I have more favorites, but I have Cinderellas early on, but favorites winning later, which tends to always be the case too. All right, Zaga versus Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I know we touched on this earlier. I wouldn't be surprised at all that Grand Canyon covers the high number. I think they're getting about 15 and a half, 16 points, but Gonzaga's going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Grand Canyon's gonna guard Drew Timme.
Bryce Drew just they kind of went on a Cinderella run a couple years ago. He's going to have those boys ready to play, and I think he's going to have a little game plan. So. And I think the market agreed with me because it kind of went one way, and then you talk about reverse line where there's been some people punching back. So Grand Canyon might cover the large number though.
Yeah, if they shoot as well as they did in the WAC tournament, I mean they could beat anybody. It's tough to beat a team that shoots 61% from three, and they shoot 40% of their attempts from three. And that's a tough team to beat. I just think Zaga is just too much though. Not like I said, I just don't know how they're going to defend Drew Timme. Julian Strother would be their tallest player on Grand Canyon, which is crazy to think of.
And he was 6'8".
He's like 6'7", 6'8". I just think ultimately Zaga just has way too much size for Grand Canyon.
Bet that over. I think the over is 155.
Yeah, I mean you can almost always bet a Zaga over because they might put up 90 themselves.
100. So bet that over when it comes to the good old Zags.
Yeah, no, this will be.
I can't wait for them to join a better conference, man.
Dude, why the WCC is a good conference?
I know, but
I think the WCC is a tough conference. It's come a long ways.
Yeah,
but the Gonzaga should be in the Big 12 or the Pac-12, something.
Bro, Santa Clara probably would have been like the 4th best team in the Pac-12 this year.
I'm talking about Gonzaga though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The WCC is that good that Santa Clara probably would have been the 4th best team, 4th or 5th.
Is that the Banana Slugs?
It's the Broncos.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of UC Santa Cruz.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Steve Nash for some reason.
Banana Slugs. Ooh, there's a fight in the Bucks Kings game right now. What's going on?
Giannis stock somebody out?
Nah, Brooke Lopez, dude. He's got a bloody eye, dude.
Damn.
Giannis holding him back, bro. Security coming out. Are you guys watching this?
Nah, I was watching the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, it's against Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles got ejected.
Oh, okay.
Damn, what happened? Did you see it, Aaron?
No, I didn't see it. I was watching the other game, the Golden State game earlier.
Oh, it's because Aaron Lyles pushed Giannis and then Brooke came to defend him. Oh, that's crazy. All right, sorry. I didn't mean to get off track there. All right, so we got Zaga moving on, all of us, right? All right.
Yeah.
Boise Northwestern. This is a game that I've gone back and forth 100 times on. I just don't know which way to go. What do you think here, Aaron?
Well, Boise kind of opened. Boise opened favorite now. Now it's kind of run off. Northwestern's like -2 now.
Northwestern moved to. I know that Right Angle Sports is on Northwestern, right?
I think they are. Yeah.
That's why I think that's why that moved.
But they Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde too, though.
I mean, both these teams kind of are. Northwestern can't score very well outside of Boo Booey. I mean, this team really struggles.
That's what I was curious. Yep. When he's on, he's another one. Like I said about West Virginia earlier, they're going to go as far as he allows them to go. It feels like Max Rice though, and them boys finally get over the hump this year. It just kind of feels like they do. But that's another team that can go kind of cold there for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why this is such an interesting matchup to me. But I just think ultimately, like Boise State and Northwestern, both great defensive teams, 13th and 14th respectively in defensive efficiency. However, Boise State is the much better offensive team here.
Mm-hmm.
We would agree, right? I mean, I just don't know how I could take Northwestern. I gotta take Boise.
I think I like Boise here too. I think it's just a tough matchup for Northwestern. Northwestern's got to be thinking about, man, we got a showdown with UCLA in the next round.
Yeah, either one of these teams. I mean, both of these teams lose in next round to UCLA, regardless. It's like a miracle.
Not jumping forward, but I like UNC Asheville catching almost 3 touchdowns. And I actually might bet it if he keeps going in my favor because I cashed a major, actually 2 tickets with Asheville to win the Big South this year.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I think UCLA wins that game. But yeah, I agree with you. UCLA is also not the kind of team that like just blows opponents out. They take their foot
Well,
off
Drew
the gas.
Pember feels, he came from Tennessee to Asheville. Feels like he's a guy that's kind of made for March. And they got a guy named Tajon Jones that can get hot. He kind of led that. I think he scored 12 points straight himself for that miracle comeback against Campbell, Big South Championship. He's a guy that can shoot the lights out. Feels like Asheville sticks around that number.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Irv, you got UCLA winning that one?
No, I got them losing. I'm just playing. Of course they gonna win. I'm a USC fan, but I ain't that crazy. I think they win. Asheville might put up a good fight. They should cover the 3 touchdowns because it's hard to beat a team by 21. But yeah, I think UCLA pulls it out.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we went through the bracket. We went through the first round. Let's give our Elite 8, our Final 4, and then our national champion. So first, we'll go Elite 8. Aaron, who's in your Elite 8?
As far as I'll start in the South region, it feels like Bama or West Virginia. It feels like West Virginia can give a fight to Bama, but I think that team just keeps steamrolling. Whoever comes out of that, what I think is going to be a Virginia San Diego State game, which I hate to say it, but I think San Diego State might take that game. Feels like Alabama comes out there.
All right, so who else do you have in the South?
Coming out the bottom of the South, as I said, I think Baylor's a team that's going to surprise some people. Their guards give them play, but I think ultimately Arizona figures out their defensive inconsistencies and finds a way to get out here. Even though I think Utah State will give them a battle.
All right, and then in the East, your 2 teams.
The East, you sit there and look at Purdue. You sit there and look at a team like Duke. I think Duke ultimately finds a way to get out of there. And, it's hard to go against Marquette right now. Shaka Smart's going to have them boys ready.
Yep, I agree. And then Midwest, your 2 teams.
Coming out of the Midwest, it's hard to go against Houston. I know one of their better players is hurt, but they've just been so efficient on both sides of the ball all year. I think Miami can give them a battle, but I like Houston to come out, and I'm pretty sure that parlays them into playing a kind of a home game for the Final Four.
Yep. And then
And in the bottom of the bracket, I think they ultimately play Miami. I know I'm higher on Miami than most people, but I just think their guards are going to give people problems.
nice. Bottom you have Texas or
Texas is a team that if they're shooting the ball well, they can play with the best of everybody. So I think Texas ultimately comes out of there.
all right, and then
And and I wouldn't be surprised if Mississippi State doesn't make a surprise run.
yep, I agree. Their biggest problem is they can't score though.
Yeah, I think they may come out. But anyways, I think Texas ultimately goes to the Final Four.
And then in the West, your two teams.
The West, man, it's hard to go against Kansas. Hopefully, Mr. Himself comes back healthy. And it feels like Gonzaga again. As we said, they're kind of underestimated by a lot of people except for themselves. And I don't know, Gonzaga might make a run here. I tell you what, it'd be an awesome showdown to see Gonzaga play UCLA.
Yeah, that would be a fun one for sure. Again, another rematch.
Wouldn't that be a rematch? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, a couple years ago.
All right, and then so you have Kansas and Zaga.
I'm going Kansas and Zaga. Yeah, Zaga
right.
with the mild upset over UCLA.
Irv, what's your Elite Eight starting in the South?
Give me Alabama and Duke.
No, Duke's in the East.
Oh shit. Well, yeah, I'm looking at it wrong. Give me Alabama and Arizona.
Okay, and then in the East,
Give me Duke and Houston.
Houston's in the Midwest. What are you giving me your Final Four, dude?
No, I'm scrolling down the damn thing.
I think Duke's size and length in the paint will give Edie problems.
Yeah.
So Duke is in the East or the South?
East.
Okay, well, the South is Alabama and Arizona.
Yep.
The East, give me
Duke
and Houston.
No, Houston's in the Midwest.
Bruh. This fucking bracket is confusing the shit out of me.
I think the way we had it trending was we had Arizona most likely playing Baylor there in the Sweet 16.
So the East is.
So you have like Duke, Kentucky, Marquette, USC in the East.
In the East. Yeah, in the East we were trending kind of like Marquette playing.
Yeah.
Whoever come out of Kentucky, Providence, Kansas State.
Yeah, give me Duke and Marquette.
All right, Midwest. You got Houston and who else?
Houston and let me make sure I'm getting this right.
Texas.
Damn, that's a tough one. Yeah, I'll say Texas.
All right, and then in the West, you got Kansas probably.
Yep, Kansas and Gonzaga.
All right, my Elite Eight. I got in the South. I got San Diego State and Creighton.
Okay.
In the East, I got Duke and Marquette. In the Midwest, I got Houston and Texas, and in the West, I got Kansas and Gonzaga. And then our Final Four. Aaron, what's your Final Four? And your national champion?
Man, that's hard.
Your national champion, who over who?
I have a UConn ticket, so I'm hoping it's UConn, but I'm not confident on saying that. It's just hard to think that Bama doesn't get there to the Final Four.
Okay, so you got Bama
coming out the East, coming out the South. It really, really just feels like that Arizona just figures it out on defense. So coming out South to be Arizona.
Hold on. You can't have Bama and Arizona. They're in the same region.
Sorry. Yep. That's sorry. I got confused too. that would be a great matchup. But coming out of that, I think I'm going to ride Bama to the Final Four.
All
In
right.
the East, I just think Marquette figures out a way that they probably beat Duke. So I'll take Marquette there. Houston, I just think it's just a fairy tale story for them to end up in the Final Four, kind of like a home game
Yep.
coming out the Midwest. And out of the West, I'm going to go Gonzaga. I just think they figure it out.
All right. And then your national champion, who's beating who?
As efficient as I think Houston is, as efficient as I think Gonzaga will be, I just think Alabama wins it. I think the off-court issues, I think they just put it all to the side.
Against Alabama. Or you have Alabama beating Houston.
Yep.
Okay. Irv, your Final Four.
Me and Aaron have the same Final Four, but I got Houston winning the national championship.
All right.
It's a good pick.
My Final Four, I got Creighton, Marquette, Houston, and Gonzaga. And then I have Marquette losing to Houston in Houston with Jim Nance on his Final Four calling his alumni as they raise a banner.
Damn, Jim Nance retiring? Damn.
He's not going to do Final Four anymore. I think he's still going to do NFL. But
Okay.
This is Final Four, and then Ion
Man,
Eagles.
end of an era.
Yep. So
Yes, it is.
That sucks.
I have a couple futures on Houston, but I also have like two other futures. I have a future on Marquette. I have a future on Gonzaga. And I have a future on Iona. The Iona and the St. Mary's. Iona is a long shot, though. Very much long shot.
I just feel like I'm late to the party on Marquette, but I think they can get there. I have the future on UConn, and I actually have a small future on Miami at plus 5,500, 55-1.
Nice. That's a good price right there. But I'm very much looking forward to the tournament. Aaron, we got to have you on as the tournament progresses. Kind of, if you're down, have you help us recap the rounds and go through the next rounds if you're down. So I would
love to.
Awesome. Make sure to follow Aaron at AaronKid10 on Twitter. You can follow Irvin at SwervinIrvinTSP. You can follow myself at JordanRulesTSP. Thank you, everybody, for locking in with us. If you watch it live, thank you. You can rewatch it on YouTube later. You can. We're also on every podcast platform: Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever it is. We're on every platform. Aaron, thank you for joining us again. So with that, we'll be out of here. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed night. Enjoy the tournament. Let's make some money. Let's go.